What's going on, guys? It's Speedoms, and today I cannot speak. I've done this intro so many times, and I'm just stumbling over my words. I'm going to keep doing it. It's just one of those days. Um, Before I jump right into this video, which is going to be common stereotypes about Americans, which I had to watch. It came up in my recommended. Real quick, I just want to explain where I've been this past week. I got hit by a really bad storm. I think it was on Tuesday, Monday or Tuesday, I forget which one. And I lost power for like 4 days, 4.5 days, something like that. Just no electricity at all. Wasn't able to record, wasn't able to do anything, wasn't even able to like check YouTube. And during that time, I actually passed 3,000 subs. I'm sorry I didn't have anything ready. Like I said, I am going to be doing some stuff for 3K, but I just wanted to quickly recognize, thank you guys so much for getting me over 3K. I never thought that was going to happen. Really, really appreciate it. But I'm not going to harp too much on what I missed. I want to jump right into this because this looks really interesting. So if you guys like these kind of videos over like the sports or the music, let me know. Share some more with me if you want to see my reactions to them. Original will be down in the description below, all that. And let's jump right in.
We all love to stereotype, to believe in or to cast forth oversimplified ideas about certain groups, and in today's case, a nationality. Is it really true that all Italians are passionate lovers and equally passionate about food? Do the Brits have stiff upper lips and bad teeth? Are Canadians simple, outdoorsy types with an enthusiasm for chopping wood? Well, today we are going to look at just one country in this episode of the infographic show, Common Stereotypes About Americans. Don't forget to subscribe and click the bell button so that you can be part of our notification squad. The big, bold, brash American.
Real quick, I don't do that stuff, ask for subs or, all that stuff, just because, like, I don't personally like when other videos do that. Am I the only one? Like, if I want to subscribe or I want to like, I'm going to do it. You telling me to do it isn't really going to change my opinion. It's just me. I don't know.
How true is that? There is a stereotype that Americans are a big or fat nation. The stereotype is partly true if you believe the World Health Organization. According to 2015 data, the USA was the most obese Western nation in the world, but it only came 16th on the list, which included all the world's nations.
Huh. Not gonna lie, I actually did think we were number one. We have so much processed food, so much sodium, so much sugar. Like, I know I'm a big guy, but I have medical issues, and that's part of the reason why. I really don't eat that much. Like, my worst habit is this right in front of me. And if you look, it's Diet Mountain Dew. It's not even regular Mountain Dew. So, like, calories are not my problem. It's all the other crap that's in our food. It's just so unhealthy. I just had Belgian chocolate the other day, and it was so much better than our chocolate. It's just, I don't know. I honestly believe that our food really needs to be examined. But anyways.
The island of Nauru in the region of Micronesia came first on the list. Reports suggest Americans actually exercise a lot, but with a diet of fast food, high sugar intake, and super-sized portions, US citizens will have a hard time running off the extra pounds. We might take bold and brash to sometimes mean arrogant and dismissive of other cultures. Who hasn't seen those viral video clips wherein Americans are subjected to global knowledge questions and come out looking like they know little about the world? According to the writer and habitually quoted academic Noam Chomsky, the average American knows a lot more about sports than global politics. The gas station attendant who wants to use his mind isn't going to waste his time on international affairs because that's useless.
Well, part of that too is that our media just doesn't, like, our media kind of makes it almost seem like no one else exists unless there's like a crisis going on there. Like, if a tsunami hits or a major earthquake or something, it'll be covered for a little bit, but like, we don't hear, like, I'm sure you guys in other countries, you guys hear about, our politics or, whatever, just on your normal news. We don't get that. So it's not 100% our fault. Granted, we are very lazy. A lot of Americans don't even want to know what's going on with the rest of the world. They choose to live ignorantly, and I don't really like that. But yeah, you can't blame us entirely for this one.
He can't do anything about it, said Chomsky, stating that people use their expertise where they think it counts. He also said to be critical and disobedient went against the grain, and so most Americans just join in the debate at the trivial level and know very little about deconstructing global politics. Someone writing on Quora said the education system, the TV media, are US-centric. She also pointed out that America is large enough to travel around extensively, and foreign travel can be prohibitively expensive. The State Department said in 2016,
I forget what it was. There was some, I think it was a video I just saw on Facebook or something, but it was this guy who couldn't get over the fact that you can drive 12 hours and still not go from one side of Texas to the other. Yeah, we got a pretty big country here.
That 64% of Americans don't even own a passport. But then
I
you
don't
could
have
ask,
one.
with such a large and beautiful country, do they need one? Another stereotype related to lack of knowledge about other countries might be that Americans watch way too much television and that sometimes those shows are a tad mind-numbing. Well,
Yep.
Americans do top the list of being the most avid TV watchers in the world. According to a Recode article in 2016, the average American watches 4.3 hours of TV a day. The older generation more so than the younger generation, who prefer spending time using other devices. It depends on what you watch on TV.
But I mean, what's the difference if you're watching Netflix or you're watching TV? It's the same friggin' thing.
But one could ask if you could equate the global ignorance stereotype with being the country that is glued to what has sometimes been called the idiot box more than anyone else. We are starting to sound quite negative now, so what about all those positive stereotypes? The well-known English writer Stephen Fry once said that after traveling around the USA for a while making a TV program, one thing he most admired was the friendliness and positive outlook of Americans. He extolled what he called American optimism, and that American people believed they could improve and do what they wanted to if they tried. This all may boil down to what we might call the American dream and the pursuit of happiness. Are all Americans like this?
When did Stephen Fry do this, though? Because I think that narrative has pretty much gone out the window at this point.
A report by the United Nations Office on Drugs and Crime put Americans 8th on the list of most drug-addicted countries, noting that the prescription painkiller epidemic is presently very worrying.
Yep.
North America had the highest amount of drug-related deaths of all continents in 2015, with the report stating, in the United States, nearly 500,000 people are estimated to have died from drug overdoses since 2000. Just recently,
Part of that problem, though, is the fact that everything's being cut with fentanyl, which is very, very deadly in small doses. It's not the actual, like, drugs that people think they're taking. It's the stuff that their drugs are cut with that's killing them. That's not something that's reported on, and it probably should be more often.
the New York Times reported that drug overdoses in the US were rising faster than ever. Perhaps American optimism is partially true, but American OxyContin addiction undermines the positive outlook stereotype. What about guns? Americans love their guns, right? According to the Telegraph in 2016, Americans do indeed have more guns per person than any other country in the world. The data tells us there are 112.6 per 100 citizens.
Yeah, but you get people like my dad who have, like, I don't know, 20 or 30. And then you get people like me who don't own any. So that's kind of skewed. Like,
More than a gun for every person. It's true that many Americans support the right to bear arms, but it's also true that many other Americans support tighter gun control or the banning of guns altogether. A recent Pew Research poll found that 52% of Americans support stricter gun control, while only 18% wanted less strict control. A Gallup poll in 2016 said that 76% of Americans said handguns should not be banned for all people, not including authorities, but 23% said they should. Another stereotype is that Americans are loud and sometimes rude. An op-ed in the Huffington Post seems to agree with this assertion. Awareness of how personal actions impact others seems to be a weak point for Americans in general, said the writer. This translates to the perceived ignorant persona Americans abroad present, she added. There are many reasons put forward as to why this is, especially when abroad, but the main one is that instilled in Americans is not only a positive outlook, but also self-importance. People think they should be heard, and this also goes back to embracing freedom of speech and saying what the hell you want to say, goddammit. This has sometimes been taken as rude in a situation where an American will complain about the service or food in a restaurant, but perhaps these people only think they are enjoying their right to do that. In Japan, there's a saying, hit the nail that sticks out, while in America it might be more applicable to say, be sure to make good use of your protuberance. This also might align with the stereotype of American patriotism. When British students asked American students questions about stereotypes, one Brit kid asked why Americans were so so patriotic? Some American students didn't deny it and gave good answers. One student said, "We are a major melting pot country. Rather than history or a common language that unites us, we are united by freedom, which is what it means to be American." It is, however, possibly a weak stereotype, as another student said he wasn't patriotic at all, and another called patriotism mere mob mentality. A
Kind of
Gallup
is.
poll said that in 2016, only 53% of Americans.
See, the thing with that is like patriotism is kind of, I don't want to say it's BS, but it's almost a way to like have the government make you back your country more than you even need to. If that makes any sense at all. Um it kind of just makes you not question things as much. So yeah, I kind of get the mob mentality aspect in that.
Americans said they felt extremely proud to be American. This compares to 70% who said yes to that question in 2003. It said the younger generation was the cause of this huge change, which mirrors the mob mentality students' belief.
Yeah, but is that because of that, or is it because the younger generations are finally saying, "Hey, there's a lot of BS going on in this country, and let's clean it up before we say that we're proud." And I think I am actually one of those people. So that number is also a little bit skewed. I think a lot of people want to be proud to be American, but a lot of us are kind of ashamed, honestly. Um, yeah.
Sometimes you'll notice in Europe there's a certain snootiness that Americans are not cultured. This to some extent could be true, as the United
Because we're
States is
not.
relatively new, and so we can't really credit the country for a renaissance of culture. But hold on, what about the great transcendentalist movement of the 19th century with its poets and philosophers that is making a comeback today against hyper-consumerist values? This later led to the free-spirited Beat generation and the books of Jack Kerouac. In music, America gave us the blues, originating from African Americans in the Mississippi Delta. It gave us New Orleans jazz. It gave us, to a large extent, the hippie 60s and the American Kool-Aid acid test. In New York in the 70s, we got disco, and following that came the hip-hop movement. Throughout those years, writers vied to write the great American novels. Some of them, such as Joseph Heller, Philip Roth, and Toni Morrison, wrote literary masterpieces that will go down as books that changed the world. Can we really say that Americans are uncultured? So, what do you think of these American stereotypes? Can you name a few that we left out? Let us know in the comments.
So honestly, I really don't think they were very out of line with those. I think they were pretty spot on, to be quite honest. So I don't know. I kind of feel like all of these were the most like super obvious ones too. I know I've heard some stereotypes in the past that like I didn't know were stereotypes. So I was kind of hoping to see a few of those, but overall, like, yeah, I do think that most of these stereotypes, other than like the few little things that I mentioned, I think they were all pretty spot on, to be quite honest. So I don't know. As a non-American, what do you guys think? And if you guys have any other videos like this, let me know down below. Hope you guys enjoyed, and I will catch you guys on the next one.